Howdy, folks. My name is Rand Fishkin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SparkToro and also Snack Bar Studio. I was previously known as the CEO and founder of Moz in the SEO software space. SparkToro is audience research software. And today, I'm going to talk to you about a big problem we're all facing: zero-click marketing. So let's get to it right away. Let's go back in time. I want to take you back to 1937 when Coca-Cola put up this billboard in San Francisco. And that's an expensive build in 1937. Heck, it'd be expensive in 2024. They're actually taking it down, which is kind of sad. Why did they choose to do this? Like, this is a huge marketing expense. It obviously, cost them a ton for the land and the billboard itself and the build out. So they must have known that they had a positive return on investment. How'd they measure that? They couldn't possibly see attribution. If someone sees this billboard, it's not like they can track them, with a horse and buggy in 1937 and go, oh, okay, I see that they walked over to the general store and bought some Coca-Cola. Our billboard must be working. No. What they did was what marketers throughout the 20th century did. They put this up in San Francisco, but not in Los Angeles. And then they watched if same-store sales in a 5-mile radius lifted more than the cost of the billboard itself. And when they saw that it did, they rolled out a billboard campaign in other places. Now, 2000, 2001 comes along, 2005 comes along, and digital marketers like this jamoke over here, that is me from 2009, I think, in an ill-fitting brown suit when I was very young, telling marketers around the world that buying billboards is throwing away your money, right? That this is silly. And if you do digital marketing, you can track every single click and every step of the way, and you'll never waste a marketing dollar again. Fantastic. What happened? Why'd this all go sideways on us? Well, I'm going to walk you through all the things that happened. There's a whole bunch of them. You can study the slides later, but third-party cookie death, that didn't help for sure. First-party cookies are also getting far less effective. And part of this is because users are manually blocking, and so are browsers, and so is Apple automatically inside Safari, and so are all the apps that we visit that take us out of the browser experience, and so are ad blockers that we manually install, which block not just ads, but also most tracking as well. Multi-device journeys, of course, are now standard. We use our phone, we use our desktop, we use our iPad, we use our laptop. And all the things that you might be thinking, if you're an American, you might be thinking, oh, Rand, there's still, browser fingerprinting. I can tie these things together. Yeah, a lot of the things that are legal in the United States are not legal anywhere else. And they're becoming illegal in places like California and New York, where privacy laws are coming into place. So digital marketers might be thinking, well, yeah, maybe I can't reliably track everywhere my audience has been and what they experience before they get to my brand, but surely I can still see click-throughs. Oh, can you? Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the death of the click and the rise of zero-click everything, because I think this is a compounding part of the problem. At first, this was just Google, right? You do a Google search for how to get your backsplash clean or Bruce Springsteen songs, and these features are really quite compelling, right? There's how to clean a backsplash. I don't actually have to click on the spruce, which is nice because the spruce has all these pop-up ads and you got to scroll halfway down the page. There's all the Bruce Springsteen songs. I can click show more and get a list of them. I don't have to click on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest. I disagree with Rolling Stone's assessment anyway. And the problem here is, if you are the Spruce or you are Rolling Stone or you're any publisher or brand on the web, you had a deal with Google. A deal with Google since 1997, which was they get to crawl our sites for free. They get to take up our bandwidth, and they use a ton of it. They use more than any user by a mile, right? Which costs us money to host our servers or our AWS instances. And Google, in exchange, sends us traffic when we rank for the queries that people search for. But Google keeps on changing the deal. Remember when they used to send us keyword data about what people searched for? That was part of the deal. That was part of how they convinced publishers in the late 90s and early 2000s to let them crawl for free. So we did some research at SparkToro with a company called Datos. Datos is our clickstream data provider. SparkToro uses them for our audience research project to help product to help us know where people go on the web, what they click on, and all those kinds of things. And so we asked Datos to provide us with information about what happens after millions of people in the United States and Europe search on Google. And here's the answer. This is for the US specifically. So 41.5% click something, one or more clicks, right? A search results in 1 click or 2 clicks or 3 clicks. On average, it's 1.23. And those clicks can go to one of 3 places. Unpaid organic results, classic SEO stuff, right? 28.5, almost 30% go to another Google property. Google Hotels, Google Flights, Google Maps, Google News, Google Images, YouTube. YouTube gets a ton of the share. And 1% of all clicks that come from searches, which would be about 5% to 10% of the time that a paid search actually shows up, because paid searches are only available in 20% of all search results. Those go to paid ads that you pay Google for. Okay, so this distribution doesn't sound great, because zero-click searches, right, where someone does nothing, the browsing session ends, or another search happens, that's almost 60% of all searches. And this means for every 1,000 searches that happen on Google, about 360 clicks go to the open web. That is much lower than in years past, because Google has changed so much. Now, essentially what we're saying is clicks here on the organic stuff, that's declining. Searchers who are happy with these types of Google results, that keeps rising. And now there's this predictive answering too, where people don't even really get a search. I know you've searched for how old is Paul Rudd. Everybody searches for how old is Paul Rudd because this answer is totally uncredible. I'm 45 and he looks 10 years younger than me. It's very annoying. Stop it, Paul Rudd. I don't know what you're doing, but drinking the blood of runaways is not cool. I don't know what to call this. Maybe a negative click search. All right. I think AI overviews, if they roll out heavily again, could compound this problem. I know a lot of marketers are worried about that. So Google started this zero-click trend, absolutely, but they are far, far from the only ones who are doing it. It's now zero-click everything. I'll show you what I mean. Instagram, no links allowed. The only place you can have a link is in your bio. That obviously gets you, for those of you who have 10,000 or more Instagram followers, you know that one of those people might be lucky to, in a post, click on your bio. TikTok, same story, no links allowed, links only in bio. And they tested removing the links from bio last year. Who knows if that rolls out. Twitter is a link at your own peril. When Elon bought the service, he open sourced the algorithm. And part of what you can see in there is that Twitter intentionally reduces the reach of posts with links. Threads is the same way. They intentionally reduce the reach of posts that include links. So if you want your thread to do well, Threads is probably on pace to surpass Twitter in the next couple of years. I think they're around 175 million users to Twitter's 230 million. So link in comments is kind of the way you have to play it on LinkedIn, which I'm sure many of you in B2B are very familiar with. I tested this, by the way, and basically what I see is pretty consistent, which is on average for me, 10x the reach with zero-click content that talks about the content that I have, but does not include the link, versus 1/10 the reach, engagement, likes, shares, comments, etc., impressions with the link included. Facebook is really, really similar. In fact, that 1 to 10 ratio holds up. 10x the reach with zero-click content, 1/10 the reach with a link. Every single platform appears to be prioritizing this native content, with one exception. Mastodon is very link-friendly, but unfortunately, it did not take off. All the other ones, zero-click centric. And that's not to mention the fact that for most of these platforms, there's another problem called dark social. If you've heard of dark social, it's talking about referral traffic, right? So we look and see that all these visitors are coming from direct, but only a few of them are going to the homepage. How could people be typing in or getting directly to all these long URLs? It doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. And it's because these traffic sources, TikTok and WhatsApp and Mastodon and Slack, all the Slack groups that are sharing all that B2B content where you're getting visits from, but you can't see it in your analytics because they pass no referral string. They intentionally strip it out. They'll take out UTM parameters as well. So you're losing a ton of the ability to show where your traffic came from. And this problem is only getting worse. It's happening in search as well. There's a small portion of Google search, especially in the Google search mobile app, that appears to be dark search. Same with Bing. So I asked Datos, does anybody still send clicks? Is there anyone out there? And they worked with me to create this graph, which essentially shows you where traffic on the web comes from. We looked at all the traffic from all their millions of panelists and where it came from and went to. And this is what you can see happening, right? So Google and search overall is 75% of the market, right? YouTube, search, Microsoft and Bing and Google. But that's not where people are spending time. When we looked at where people spend time online, search is only 10%. It's the 5th most traffic category. It's not in the top. That belies the fact that essentially over here in social, in news, in productivity, in video, that's where people are consuming content. That's where they're discovering the problems that they have and your potential brand or service or product that might be the solution. So what do we do as marketers? All this traffic's invisible. A lot of traffic isn't even coming anymore. What's the solution? Well, if you're thinking, I'll just spend more on ads. Yeah, like Chase and P&G and Uber and eBay and Airbnb, all of these companies and many thousands more have these examples of cutting their advertising spend down to zero or doing so in a geography or for a time series test and seeing improved or the same results. What the heck is going on? Well, I have a story that I think explains this. I'm going to tell it very quickly. So this story was about a pizzeria owner of Pizzeria Sevilla in Milan, and she wants to drum up more business. So she hires 3 neighborhood scamps to go run around and distribute flyers with discount codes. And they're 3 different colors, the color of the Italian flag, white, a red, and a green one. And after a month, she looks and the kid with the green flyer is just crushing it. So much of business is coming in with the green flyer using that discount code. So she fires the other 2 kids and she says, hey kid, keep up what you're doing, keep distributing the flyer. 6 months later, she talks to her accountant. The accountant says, well, business is technically up a little bit, but because of the discount codes, to be honest, we're actually making less than we were before. And the owner says, I can't believe it. This is impossible. I swear to you, like 50, 60% of the customers are new customers coming in and they're coming in with the discount code, which is only 10% off. How can this be? So what does she do? She's a little bit dramatic. She puts on a disguise. She follows the kid to see where he goes. What does he do? Well, he walks out of the pizzeria with the green flyers and he sneaks into the alley around the corner, ducks behind a bin. And whenever he sees someone who's walking toward the restaurant, he jumps out and hands them the flyer. Because why would you work hard to make more sales when you could just take credit for sales that were already going to happen? AKA Google and Facebook's motto. What Google and Facebook are great at is knowing where people are going to go on the web before they buy from you. Now, were they always going to buy from you? In many cases, according to the experiments, they were. And the hard to swallow pill here is that the best marketing opportunities are often the least measurable. So what's our solution, right? My suggestion is to go where your audience is. Find the keywords that they search for, find the websites that they already visit, find the pages that are ranking, find the podcasts that they listen to, the subreddits they subscribe to, the YouTube channels that they're listening to and watching, and be present in those places however you can. Sometimes that's advertising, sometimes it's co-marketing, sometimes it's a sponsorship, sometimes it is content and contribution. I'm here in front of you because the kind folks at Demand said, hey, Rand, will you do a presentation with us? And I went, yeah, look, I know my audience for SparkToro is at the Demand event. I should be there too. And also Demand made a very kind contribution to give directly, which means a ton to me. Thank you again. And a huge round of applause for the Demand folks for doing that. Okay. I'm also urging you to not be afraid of zero-click searches. Even if you don't get the click, you still get an opportunity to have the information you present in front of the people you want to reach. You've got to think of SEO instead of as a traffic driving channel, as a brand marketing channel. like the Coca-Cola billboard. Zero-click content as well. We get no links from these, but these videos drive a ton of the activity around our brand. They're how people know us. They're how people know about our tool and what it does. Zero-click often means more reach, more engagement, more followers and fans. And that can build a following that turns into a very powerful distribution channel, right? It's growing your brand, growing your subscribers, growing your connections. There's a hard conversation you're going to have, and that is when your boss or team or client says you have to attribute all the dollars that you put into marketing. You got to have that conversation and say, hey, look, that is the old way of doing things. And because of all these changes to platforms, to cookies, to ad blockers, to multi-device journeys, on and on and on, you need to invest in 20th century style ways, right? Experiment, watch for lift, and then see if pulling back on your paid spend results in sales that would have happened anyway, right? Okay. What does all this mean for marketers? I'm going to try and sum this up in just a few slides. And I think these are the biggest core takeaways for me. First off, if you are exclusively focused on traffic acquisition, you're stuck with search. Other channels just don't drive traffic. Search, Google and Bing essentially drive the overwhelming majority of all web traffic. You can download the full list if you're interested. That does not give you a lot of channel diversity. If you're trying to prove acquisition, right? Prove how we acquired a customer and every channel they touched before, that will always make you Google's fool. Why? Because everything that happens in social and productivity and news and e-commerce and video and financial, everything that happens in those places almost always results in one of these. And then who gets credit in the analytics? Not the place where it happened, that's for sure. If you want to win at social, you have to embrace zero-click content. There's just no choice. And to determine the platforms where you should prioritize, you should probably know where your audience engages. Surveys, conversations, actual conversations, and tools that provide data at scale. BrandWatch is a great one. There's one called Audience with an S, and there's SparkToro too. So I'm urging you to measure, not with attribution, because it does not work anymore. It is not real. The platforms that provide it are lying to you. But instead to measure like Coke did in the 20th century. And I know that's a tough conversation to have, but I think you can do it. Thank you very much. If you want to connect with me, I'm rand@sparktoro.com, or you can check me out. I'm most active on Threads and Twitter. And of course, you're welcome to come check out SparkToro too. Thanks very much for having me.